Had two great races to start off the season here in the 2025 Haas IndyCar Series. Starting off the season at an oval in the Auto Club Speedway, where we saw John Andrews get his first win of the season. And then we moved on to a road course for the second race out in Riverside, where we saw an absolutely great race there as well, where we saw Avery Alford go to victory lane with Evans Ross Racing. And now we arrive here at our third race of the season here at another road course, and still here out on the West Coast. We are here at the Circuit of the Americas here in Austin, Texas, for a bit of really slide windy road course action. We're going to be up, we're going to be down, we're going to be all over the place here in Austin, Texas, here from the Circuit of the Americas. But we are here for race number 3 on the 2025 Haas IndyCar Series season. Welcome to Firestone, Indy, Texas. What's going on, everybody? Caleb here, and welcome to Firestone, Indy, Texas, here at Circuit of the Americas. Race number 3 of the 2025 Haas IndyCar Series season, and yeah, like I said, it's been a great season so far. We've had a spectacular first 2 races, and I am sure this race will be no different. Circuit of the Americas is always usually a great track, especially here in the IndyCar Series. Can be pretty chaotic as well, so we'll have to see how everything plays out, but we'll never know until the checkered flag flies here today, so we'll just have to wait and see how it all goes down. But yeah, this is going to be a great race, I can tell you all that. We're here for 15 laps of action, should have a pit stop right there in the middle, so definitely a lot of factors in play here for today. Joining alongside me here in the booth, we got Alex and we got Nathan. Thank you both for joining me up here today. I'll start with you, Alex, because you've got John Andrews there in the 79, our current points leader and the winner from Auto Club, and he's starting on the outside pole today, so to say he has had a great start to the season is an understatement, and he has a really good shot at continuing that great momentum here today. What do you think he has to do here from Circuit of the Americas to keep that momentum going?
Well, he has to make sure that what happened to him here 2 years ago does not happen to him again. 2 years ago, he was in contention to win this race, and after the cycle of pit stops, got caught up in an accident, and that's something we may see here today, is attrition. This is a very tricky road course, 20 turns here, 3.427 miles, and there are certain parts on this racetrack, especially with these guys going as fast as they do, where it's difficult to get around and avoid accidents if you're going double wide or the like. So John Andrews is in a good position to start this race, but he has to keep it clean along with all these other drivers if they want to have a good finish here today in Firestone, Indy, Texas.
Definitely. Track position is definitely a big key here, especially at these road courses, but especially here at Circuit of the Americas, keeping your car clean and on the racetrack is definitely a whole nother task in itself. But we've seen what John Andrews can do. He definitely has what it takes to do it here today. And then Nathan, you've got a driver that's had a really good start to the season as well, especially the 98 there of Brennan Wilmington, who's had a solid couple of races, almost won at Riverside, but unfortunately kind of got caught up in a bit of a kerfuffle on pit road late in the going. However, he is starting a little bit further back, as well as Aaron Abel. What do you think your drivers need to do to potentially stay out of trouble and make their way up towards the front here at Circuit of the Americas?
Well, like you said, this track is very, very chaotic, and I'm sure we will see that here today at Circuit of the Americas. We've had a very solid season with Wilmington and Abel, and hopefully we can keep it clean, and hopefully everyone can here in this one. Strategy is one thing, and being at one at the right time is another thing. But the key today is definitely getting through the S's on the first lap or two. When everyone is side by side, 2, maybe 3 wide, that turn 1 going to be chaotic, and then the S's will also be chaotic. There's a lot of trouble spots here, And these drivers and teams have to be wary of that, and if they can just get into a rhythm after the first lap or two, hopefully with minimal carnage, then maybe we'll see what the NS Racing cars have. But I'm really liking top 5 here, and we'll see what ends up happening at the chaotic circuit of the Americas.
We'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. But we're going to quickly get these guys rolling here from the Circuit of the Americas, and as they do, we'll take a quick look here at your point standings coming into the third race of the season. And like we were mentioning pre-race, coming into this race, it is John Andrews in the 79 there for Otter Island Motorsports up at the top of the point standings. And then coming in second, we have the number 52 of Zachary Fitzwater, who comes in 19 points behind our points leader. Looking further on down the point standings, we got Avery Alford, last week's winner, coming in third, 23 points back. Audra Baranowskis is fourth, 27 back. Brendan Wilmington comes in fifth in points, 30 back. And then we have Christian Vargas, in sixth, 31 points back. Angel Olvera is seventh, 32 back. Diacomo is eighth, 33 back. Tanner Barton comes in ninth, 36 back. And rounding out your top 10 in points, we have Bradley Bradshaw coming in 39 points behind John Andrews. With all that being said, let's take a quick look here at your starting lineup here for Firestone, Indy, Texas, here from Circuit of the Americas. Of course, as aforementioned, on the pole, we have the number 13 of Duncan Ward there for Team Williams. Coming in, he's not had the best start to the season. It's been a little bit rough for him, but pole position today, has a good starting spot. He could potentially make a lot up with that. Have to see how he does here today. And like I said, he's starting alongside there your points leader, the 79 of John Andrews. Run number 2, we find the number 8 of Tanner Barton, starting alongside the 07 of Bradley Bradshaw. Row 3, we have the 40 of Angel Olvera, starting alongside the 81 of Brad Stover. Row 4, we've got the 80, Chris Reynolds, starting alongside the 63 of Logan Williams. And rounding at your top 10, we've got the 86 of Carson Miller and the 48 of Marcus Glitch. Nice to see these guys up here starting inside the top 10. It's not really been the best start of the season for either of these guys. They definitely have a great shot to potentially turn some heads here today. But race info will be on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. Got a 15 lap ahead of us here today, the usual 30 entries. And we should see the pit window open up around lap number 8. Usually around lap 8 and 9 is when we usually see a lot of these guys come into the pit lane. Definitely have to keep an eye out for that. But Alex and then Nathan, who do you all think is going to be the one to go to victory lane here in Firestone, Indy, Texas?
Well, it usually isn't the driver that starts on pole, so I'm not going to go ahead and pick anyone on the front row. I'm actually going to go with Tanner Barton there for Vision Motorsports, starting there in the third position. Lots of times that is the place to be, but we could very well see a driver who starts deeper in the field get this win here today. But my pick's going to be Tanner Barton there, getting one of his, if not... Actually, he did get that dual win, so one of his second or third wins on the channel in his driving career here on AG the channel. Excited to see what he can do here today from that third position.
I'm gonna pick a random pick here. Give me Marcus Glitch getting the job done here today. Survived the chaos and does the right strategy. I think he could get a win here today at Circuit of the Americas.
What a win that would be for Marcus Glitch and Blaine Keys. Definitely has a solid starting position, and so does Tanner Barton. That would be big wins for the both of them. Have to see if they can pull it off. But here we go into turn 19 before turn 20. About to get this race underway here at Circuit of the Americas. Pace car is going to make the left-hand turn onto the pit lane. And Duncan Ward and John Andrews is going to lead the field down the front straightaway. And here we go from Firestone, Indy, Texas. We are green flag racing here at Circuit of the Americas. As we go into the S's, what a start from the BO Racing teammates. Chris Reynolds already up into the 3rd position, but he's under fire right now from Angel Oliveira. And John Andrews, not the best start, but he's still hanging on to the 5th position. And up front, Tanner Parton, potentially going for the race lead here on Duncan Ward, checking through the field. We've got one around. That's Ace Garcia. We got more off the track. That's Vargas. That's Angel Gutierrez. And we got more wrecking towards the front. Around goes Williams. Around goes Max Anderson. And we usually see a lot of chaotic first laps here at COTA. It looks like this race is going to be no different. But up front, it's Tanner Parton who's going to take the race lead away from Duncan Ward. As here we go into turn 12, the really tight braking zone. Angel Oliveira is up to 3rd. We got a battle for 4th between Bradshaw and Reynolds. John Andrews still slipping back a little bit. He's now under fire from the 86 of Christian Vargas. You got Brad Stover, Jay Knapp, Dylan Matthews. A crazy first lap here from Firestone, Indy, Texas, but it looks like after all is said and done, it's going to be the 8 of Tanner Parton who's going to come out of it with the race lead.
It's your typical first lap at Circuit of the Americas. You know, you have to be clean on that first lap. A lot of those guys will still be able to continue, but they're going to be a little bit further back in the field. Whereas what we saw last night in the Light Series races, those guys jamming into each other in the stock cars. These guys tend to race a little bit further away from each other. So the nice thing is today we shouldn't see as much damage that happens because of that. But we did see a little bit of carnage happen on that first lap. Those guys getting a little too close to each other. And definitely a very chaotic start to this race, especially for some of those guys like Ace Garcia, who are not getting this race started off on the right foot.
Definitely, but luckily, like you said, they should be able to continue. Doesn't really look like there is terrible damage on any of these guys. It looked like it was just kind of a lot of sliding around. But yeah, like I say, we usually see a lot of chaotic first laps here at COTA. It's honestly just about to become a tradition. But they did keep it clean up here, up towards the front of the field. Duncan Ward there in the 13, trying to hang there with the 8 of Tanner Parton. Tanner Parton trying to hold on. That was a big lunge there from the 13 of Ward. Looking through here, Brad Stover trying to go after the 86 of Carson Miller there. I believe that is for the 7th position. Jay Knapp running up here inside the top 10. It's been a pretty rough start to the season for Grattan Autosport, especially with the 5 of Nicholas Samadillo. Samadillo has not had a good go of it. I think he was wrecked in the first 2 races of the season. And trying to find where Samadillo is at. There's the 5 right now, running in the 17th position. So not the best run from Samadillo, but I think by this point he just kind of like to keep the car clean. And there's your driver, Nathan Brennan Wilmington. He's made up a couple of spots, excuse me. Since the start of the race, he's gone from 19th to the 15th position.
A solid start for Wilmington, and it's like what I said at the start of the show, you gotta survive the lap 1 chaos, and we definitely saw a lot of calamity there, and I believe both Abel and Wilmington made it through all the calamity, and it'll be interesting on how the strategy game now works out for everyone in the field. Because now is when these guys will have to figure out when do they want to pit, when do they want to stay out, and who can do the undercut, who can do the overcut. Now that most likely these guys will get separated, but how about my World Cup Series driver of Tanner Parton pulling away out front on lap number 3?
Parton doing a good job at holding that race lead. Maybe a little bit wide there, but he's kind of built himself up a pretty solid gap back to the 13 of Duncan Ward, who, like I said, is trying to hang with the 8 of Tanner Parton. Yeah, well, the first lap can be pretty chaotic as we got Max Anderson down the pit lane there, probably to repair damage. We got one of the GRT Team Velocistar cars. I think that's the 63 of Logan Williams, who might have also come down the pit lane for a bit of damage repair. But yeah, after that initial chaotic first lap, it usually calms down as these guys kind of set into the rhythm and spread out just a little bit. So then it kind of just becomes a strategy game, and as we'll be figuring out when the optimal time to come down the pit lane will be. I have to see what lap everyone elects to come down. Like I said, it should be around lap 8 to 9. Maybe some will try to stretch it out till 10. We'll have to wait and see, but it's definitely probably going to be where this race is decided, on the pit lane. But out on the racetrack right now, it is Tanner Barton still leading the way, and he's built himself up a solid gap to Duncan Ward in second, and you got Angel Oliveira there in at the 40. Hanging on to the third position, got Chris Reynolds 4th, Bradley Bradshaw 5th, John Andrews in 6th, Stover 7th, Carson Miller 8th, J Knapp 9th, and Dylan Matthews currently rounding out your top 10.
And this is definitely the point of the race, like you said, Caleb, where they do single file out, keep it calm here, and then that's what you want. But once we get after the cycle of pit stops, that is when all heck breaks loose in this race. And for some reason, I don't know why it's the case, they just go nuts after that first pit stop. And we're going to see that come into effect. That's where we have seen a lot of our wrecks in past years here in this event, and there's a good chance that we might see that again here today. But Tanner Barton is hoping that he is not involved with that, and he's got a decent lead right now here 3 laps into this race. And that was a great start for him, and he clearly had the speed on Duncan Ward right there, and Tanner Barton looking to pull away here. It's the guy who's been in the IndyCar Series the past few years and has not really had any success. Great to see him have a good run here today. Hopefully, for him and Matthew Huber, they can hold on to it as this race goes along.
Definitely would be nice to see Tanner Barton go to victory lane, and overall, just a great start to the season all around there for Vision Motorsports and Matthew Hubert. Of course, Aja Baranowskis up there in the 4th position in points, and Tanner Barton is 9th. They got both their cars in the top 10 in points, which is really nice to see considering how much that team struggled last season. And Tanner Barton was with that team last season, driving the number 8. But he did decide to return to the team here for 2025, and it's really working out for him here at COTA. Still holding on to the race lead. He's got about a 1.5 second lead right now to the 13 of Duncan Ward. Oh, here we go for third. We got some BL Racing teammates going at it. That's Chris Reynolds trying to get by the 40 of Angel Oliveira. It is kind of single filing out, but if you look hard enough, you can still see some battles going on here on the racetrack, and looks like we might have some more cars down the pit lane. I think that might be Logan Williams again, and the 00 of Christian Vargas. So yeah, definitely not a good race for those guys. But definitely got an interesting teammate battle here heating up for the final podium position here on the racetrack.
Oh yeah, we got several cars all under a blanket for this third spot. About 5 of them here. And it's going to be interesting on how everything shakes out. Not sure when pit stops will happen, but like I said, it's going to be interesting on how chaotic it gets after pit stops once again on these fresh tires, or once we get fresh tires. But things are calming down a little bit, but things might be getting heated up again for the podium spot, that 5-way battle. But this is when these guys are just chilling. They know that they still have pit stops to make, but the number 40 is going to go wide of Oliveira, and that's going to allow number 80 of Chris Reynolds to get all over the back end of that IndyCar machine. And might have something. Oh, never mind. I thought might have had something for this long back straightaway, but now Reynolds might be under fire from the 07 of Bradshaw from behind.
Maybe a little bit of a lockup there from Chris Reynolds. Lost a little bit of time, but these two still having a great battle, although I bet Bruno Oscar is probably holding his breath right now. Luckily, they are keeping it clean for the time being. Got a battle here for 9th now. We got the 23 of J Knapp and the 39 of Dylan Matthews going at it for the 9th position. Matthews trying to go around the outside of the 23. Matthews might have the preferred lane here going into turn 15. But if Nat can stick there, he'll have the preferred line here going through turn 16, 17, and 18. And it looks like that will indeed be the case, and he will stay clear of Dylan Matthews for the time being. Might have something heating up front, though, as Duncan Ward trying to reel in the 8 of Tanner Barton. He closed about 2/10 the last time by, and it looks like he might have closed again this lap by. See what the gap is. Oh boy, he closed about 5/10 that last lap by. Duncan Ward might be mounting up a bit of a charge here before we get to that cycle of pit stops.
We'll have to see how close it is. The closer it is once they get to that cycle, the crazier it might get between the two of them. And keep in mind, lots of times in years past, we have seen these guys come off the pit lane and find themselves in a side-by-side battle, and they have taken each other out for the race lead. That's what happened 2 years ago. And, if it's close enough, Duncan Ward and Tanner Parton may be in a similar battle. I would like to mention, of course, BO Racing, they're doing an excellent job with their two drivers right now. And Chris Reynolds seems to have the faster car, but this is such a difficult place to make a pass, especially when everyone's on equal tires now. Whereas last night we saw in the Light Series race when we had other guys who had fresher tires than others, there was definitely a lot of passing going on in that race. But the way it is right now, everyone is essentially on equal ground at the moment. Of course, that inside lane and the hairpin there, not a good place to make a pass, and that's why Chris Reynolds lost all that momentum there on the number 40 machine. Of course, Angel Oliveira, they've had a very good run in the series in the past, closing in on Lime Rock on the schedule. They've won there a couple of times, so excited to see that race return as Bradshaw's right there in the gearbox of Chris Reynolds, and John Hughes right here as well. They're all kind of stuck behind Oliveira right now. I think Reynolds and Bradshaw and Andrews are all faster, but it's just so difficult to get a run anywhere around this racetrack the way this race course is designed, so Oliveira has the advantage at the moment.
Yeah, I think all these guys kind of queued up behind the 40 right now are definitely faster. Like you said, Reynolds, Bradshaw, Andrews, Brad Stover, Carson Miller. These guys are all pretty much just about under a blanket, all chasing that 40 of Angel Oliveira. And while it is a pretty hard place to pass, Oliveira doing a great job at defending that third position. See, up towards the front here, coming to lap number 7. Closing in on halfway through this race, and also closing in on that cycle of pit stops. Tanner Parton opened the lead back up that last time around, pulled out by about 3 or 4/10. He's now got the gap back to over a second, and it's 4.3 seconds back here to the 40 of Angel Oliveira and all of these guys. Taking a quick look here through the field. There's your other guy, Alex. You got Justin Zeidel there in the 75, having a good run. I think he started around the lower half of the top, or the lower half of the top 20, but he's made his way up to 12th. So a very solid day there for Justin Zeidel. And just a few cars back, you've got one of your drivers, Nathan, the 98 of Brenner Wilmington. He's made another pass since we've last talked about him. He's now up into the 14th position. And Aaron Abel having a little bit of a tough day there in the 97, currently down on the 23rd position. We'll have to see if he can maybe do anything here under these pit stops, though. Just have to wait and see how everything plays out. But down the back straightaway, Duncan Ward, I think he's once again reeling in that 8 of Tanner Parton, and he's probably got a bit of a draft here down the long back straightaway. Going into turn 12, a tight braking zone, just needs to be careful not to overshoot it and potentially run to the back of Tanner Parton.
Things are starting here for the race lead, and that's going to be interesting on how that plays out. I still think that some of those BO Racing cars might be holding up everyone else behind them. It's like the 40 is a little bit better on the long one than the E. But when I say that, Bradshaw's going to go a little bit wide, and here comes Triangles, might challenge for that position. And we'll see what will happen with pit stops, and maybe Wilmington can get inside the top 10. Unfortunately for Marcus Glitch, I underestimated the front-running chaos, and he's still just outside the top 10. But we'll see how everything shakes out with the pit stops possibly happening very, very soon.
Pit stop should be happening. We're at lap 8, so we could potentially see some of these guys come down this time by. Luna Lona in the 04 is back here. Don't know what happened to Lona. I don't know if she pitted really early or what. If something did happen, I'll put a replay on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. Got the 49 in of Angel Gutierrez this time by. No, Gutierrez was involved in that lap 1 chaos, so that still could potentially be scheduled, though I think Gutierrez should potentially be able to make it to the end from here. Have to wait and see potentially where that 49 will cycle out, but It is still Tanner Parton out in front, holding, at this point, a pretty steady 1 second lead back to the 13 of Duncan Ward. And we'll have to see what these guys do here under the pit cycle. Does everybody choose to undercut? Does everyone try to overcut? We'll have to see what the 8 of Tanner Parton does, and we'll have to see how the 13 of Duncan Ward reacts to whatever the 8 does.
And we're in the window now, so if they come down here, they're going to be able to make it to the end of the race. At least in theory they should be. I don't think we have any of those kinds of issues here at Circuit of the Americas, thankfully. I'm intrigued to see, though, how it ends up cycling out once we get through our cycle of pit stops, because there are some guys who are stuck behind Oliveira there that I think are very fast, and you give them a couple of seconds, they may have an opportunity. Bradshaw and John Andrews especially, I think, are really quick, and Chris Reynolds used up a lot of his stuff trying to get around Oliveira earlier on. Give him some new tires, he could have a very good shot at winning this race, especially if something happens between Tanner Parton and Duncan Ward, which is possible. We've seen it happen, and here we go. We're going to start the cycle right here.
And they're both going to come in. Oliveira stays out. Reynolds is going to duck in. Oh, Brad Stover trying to go after John Andrews there. Dylan Matthews is going to come in this time by. We got Hernandez going after Justin Seidel. Fitzwater is going to come in. Avery Alford is in. And it looks like the rest of these guys are going to stay out. We'll have to watch these two, the 8 of Tanner Parton and the 13 of Duncan Ward. Yeah, it's going to be a 4-tire stop for pretty much everybody. They're going to fill them up with fuel. And there goes the 8 of Tanner Parton. And there goes the 13 of Duncan Ward. Maybe a little bit of a slow release there, though, for Ward. And there goes the 80 of Reynolds, Dylan Matthews. And should see the 52 of Fitzwater pulling out right now. Comes out behind the 93 of Avery Alford. But it looks like out of the guys that just came down, Tanner Parton will hold the lead, but it looks like Duncan Ward might have lost a lot of ground there. As like I said, it looks like he had a bit of a slow release, and he honestly looks like he might have fallen into the clutches there of the 80 of Chris Reynolds.
We'll see of how chaotic pit stops end up getting, or how chaotic gets after pit stops. And we'll see on the strategy, because Duncan Ward was closing in on Tanner Parton before pit stops, and we'll see on how everything changes. And we'll see of what this 40 can do. If the overcut ends up working, or if the undercut ends up working. But it's going to get interesting. At the line, it will be 6 laps to go in a Firestone, Indy, Texas. And let's see who can get the race win after pit stops here at Circuit of the Americas. It's been a solid one. We'll see what happens in the second half in this one.
Have to wait and see. Of course, tire wear, a really big factor here at COTA. Have to see how that plays out. But all right, Oliveira, Bradshaw, Stover, and pretty much just about everybody else is coming in here on lap number 9. I don't think anybody will stay out and try and stretch it. We'll have to see, but it does not look like that will be the case. But here comes the 8 of Tanner Parton, already making his way here into turn 20. And he's followed by Chris Reynolds, who's made his way past the 13 of Duncan Ward. So yeah, we were saying all those guys behind Oliveira were potentially really fast. Well, there you go, the 80 of Chris Reynolds. He's past the 13 of Duncan Ward, and he might come out of the pits with the second position. It looks like that's going to be the case. There goes Angel Oliveira. There goes Brad Stover, and definitely have to watch out on the pit lane here, especially with everybody coming in at the same time. It looks like everybody is going... Oh, as soon as I say that, we got one sideways in the pit lane. That's the one of Aja Baranowskis. That's going to hold up a lot of these guys. Aaron Abel, the 41 of Giacomo, Thomas Troxel, Logan Williams. I was just getting ready to say, it looked like everybody made it through without any incident.
Yeah, it's going to be jammed up quite a bit in the back, but this is a very, very good scenario for Tanner Parton. And Chris Reynolds is a ways behind as well. I think that 80 machine is quite fast, but I don't know if he's going to be fast enough to get up to Tanner Parton in this run. John Andrews, Bradley Bradshaw, they did not have good stops right there. They really fell back in comparison, especially to those they came down the pit lane with. So they've fallen off a little bit there. They've lost a couple positions. Great run there for Jay Knapp in the 23. Good rebound for the Grattan Autosport driver. Got around both of those guys right there, and closing in there on... That is... I'm not used to the car here. That's the 04 Luna Lona there, who, if I'm not mistaken, is she a lap down?
I don't think she's a lap down. I think she might be on the lead lap. However, she did pit very early. So already she's on a lot more worn tires than these guys, and I don't know if she'll be able to make it or not. We'll have to see. But at the moment, I guess the strategy did kind of seem to work out for her, as it looks like. And we got Parton in the lead, Reynolds second, Ward third, Dylan Matthews cycles out to fourth, fifth Olvera, sixth Stover, seventh Miller, and Luna Lona right now is in the battle for eighth with the 23 of Jay Knapp. Knapp gonna go side by side. Lona tried to cut him off, but Knapp forces his nose in there and is gonna take this position away from Luna Lona. And it looks like right now Bradley Bradshaw is going to round out your top 10, but you saw right there that's how much tires mean here at COTA. You saw Jay Knapp pretty much just fly by the 04 Luna Lona, and now we'll have to see if Bradshaw could potentially do the same. But all that being said, out in front it is the 8 of Tanner Parton with a 6-second lead to the 80 of Chris Reynolds. That pit stop was honestly probably the best case scenario there for the 8 of Tanner Parton.
And now, with 5 laps to go, and a 6-second lead, unless Tanner Parton loses a second and a half a lap, which I don't think that's going to be the case. That number 8 machine has been very fast here today. I think this could be a easy win for Tanner Parton here today, and that would be a little nudge for Alex as he picked him to win here today, and it would be good for me as the owner of Tanner Parton in the World Cup Series, getting some great experience, even though it's 2 totally different race cars. But we'll see if things can keep it straight. Obviously, we've known here in the past and different series on the channel is not over until we cross the line at the finish line. Do not remind me of Bryce Crampton last year in the World Cup Series. You know, I just said it. Point is, anything can happen, and knock on wood, hopefully nothing bad happens to our race lead here before laps go at COTA.
We've definitely seen many examples here on the channel and even in this series in general. It's not over until it's over. I would prefer not to talk about the Wawa Cup Series at Bristol last year. But right now it is looking pretty good for Tanner Parton. Now a 6.2 second gap to the 80 of Chris Reynolds. So although the 8 is on 1 lap older tires, it seems to be working out well for him, as he's kind of holding the gap right now to the 80 of Chris Reynolds. And looking further on back through here, Bradley Bradshaw has made his way up to 9th. Andrews is up to 10th. And Luna Lona really struggling with that 04. She's lost a ton of ground. That just 1 lap in general. She's fallen down to the 22nd position. So yeah, that 04 really struggling with the tire wear. I would say she will probably have to come into the pit lane again. So tough strategy call there for Luna Lona. But that was probably definitely a great strategy call there for the 8 of Tanner Parton. As he's going down the long straightaway, you can see the gap. Chris Reynolds just kind of barely got into the frame as they were going down the back straightaway. So yeah, huge lead right now for the 8 of Tanner Parton. He could probably just cruise it at this point and bring it home a winner.
Still have over 3 laps left to go, and that's a lot of time here at a racetrack as large as this one. And to Nathan's point, it is not over until it's over. Of course, Travis Crampton was in a very similar position last year in the Cup Series race here, and then blew a tire on the last lap. So, you know, I'm sure that's on Tanner Parton's mind, who is currently the teammate to Travis Crampton over in the Wawa Cup Series. Of course, Crampton, he qualified pretty well today for tomorrow's race, which we're very excited for. And we actually already recorded that, so we recommend you checking that one out tomorrow. The Terry Black's Texas Grand Prix. Tanner Parton still holding a pretty wheel right here. 3 laps to go. Got the 80 machine there, Chris Reynolds, who has had an excellent race himself, and we'll see if he closes in. He does not. He is still getting gapped there by the 8 machine of Tanner Parton, and at this point, it's going to take a massive mistake out of Tanner Parton, mechanical failure at this point, I think, for Parton to lose this race. So, Tanner Parton's done everything right, and he got the race lead. He passed Duncan Ward there on the first lap of the race. He earned that spot, and he has led every single lap, essentially, since that point. Tanner Parton looking very good right now here for Vision Motorsports and Matthew Hubert.
Definitely, like you said, got the race lead on the track there in the opening lap. Had a spectacular pit stop there, and now currently holds a almost 7-second lead now to the 80 of Chris Reynolds. That 8 car has put on an absolute masterclass so far here today, and all he's really got to do at this point is bring it home and seal the deal. And he's got himself a pretty big cushion to work with back to the 80 of Chris Reynolds. So, yeah, barring a huge mistake or a mechanical failure, it is looking very good right now for the 8 of Tanner Parton. Looking further on down the field, Duncan Ward in the 13. Trying to hold on there to a podium spot. You got the 39 of Dylan Matthews and the 40 of Angel Olvera potentially closing in. And you got Brad Stover there in the 81, not too far behind. Same for the 86 of Carson Miller. You got a little bit of a gap there back to the 23 of Jay Knapp. Nice to see him having a good run there for Grattan Autosport. Bradley Bradshaw running up inside the top 10. You know, it's not the Bradley Bradshaw we saw last year, but still an absolutely great start to the season for Bradshaw there with Tracoan Racing Enterprises. Looks like it might, I think this should be back-to-back, or no, well, yeah, back-to-back top 10s for Bradley Bradshaw. So, still a very consistent season opener for that 07 team. And right now, rounding out your top 10 is John Andrews, looking to potentially hold on to that points lead. And he is going to go 3 for 3 here for top 10s to start out the season. Avery Alford, good run there for that 93, last week's winner. Currently running in the 11th position, but is trying to fend off the 88 of Anthony Hernandez, 75 of Justin Zidell, and you got the 48 of Marcus Glitch, hanging out right here outside the top 10. Still a good run, all things considered, for Marcus Glitch. You got Zachary Fitzwater in 15th, a pretty good recovery for Nicholas Samadia, right now sitting in 16th. Wilmington is 17th, 18th is Ruiz, 19th Gutierrez, Clifton in the 20th position, and you got Perez 21st, Baranowskis 22nd, Aaron Abel 23rd, Bruno Diacomo 24th, Troxel 25th, 26th is the 27 of Ace Garcia. Then you got Max Anderson, Luna Lona, Logan Williams, and Christian Vargas. And yeah, Luna Lona, she did have to come back in the pit lane again, so tough break there for Lona. But coming around to the white flag this time by Chris Reynolds. Actually did kind of take a gap there out of Tanner Parton's lead, but He's still got 6.4 seconds to go. At this point, Tanner Parton might just kind of be cruising it around because he's got the gap to work with.
He definitely has the gap to work with, and it's kind of crazy that Parton has been able to hold a 8+ second lead. Because before pit stops, it looked like Duncan Wood had the long one car, and at times it was all over the gearbox of Tanner Parton. But that's just how pit stops worked out. They must have done the right adjustments on pit road. And Tanner Parton is going to enter the final lap here in the Firestone, Indy, Texas. And it's a long way to go, but he might get the win here today.
White flag in the air, 1 to go. Here from Firestone, Indy, Texas, here at Circuit of the Americas for Tanner Parton and Vision Motorsports. 6.5 second gap to the 80 of Chris Reynolds. It's probably going to take a mechanical failure at this point for Tanner Parton, but fingers crossed he is able to bring it home and could potentially have a battle heating up for third. Duncan Ward trying to hold on. Angel Olvera there in the 40 is up to the 4th position, and Olvera has a little bit fresher tires than Ward does, so definitely ought to get interesting back here for the final podium position. Got a battle here going on for the 5th position as Stover trying to go around the outside of Dylan Matthews.
Boy.
They come together.
That's not going to work. That's the trouble spot that we always talk about.
Oh,
that is such
boy.
a shame for both of those drivers. They both had a top 5 going for them today. And right at the end, they take each other out.
Tough break there for Brad Stover and Dylan Matthews, and they're both kind of, or at least Matthews is off the pace after that one. Brad Stover probably is as well. Put a replay on your screen of that one, but man, that's a tough break for those two. That's probably going to take them out of the top 10 after they had a really good run going. But yeah, like you said, that's the trouble spot right there. That's where we can easily see these guys get together if they go side by side. Unfortunately, that was the case, but Tanner Parton, he hasn't got a car in sight right now, and he is currently coming around turns 13 and 14, or not 13, 14, 18, coming into turn 19. Man, Coda's got a lot of corners. But anyway, coming through turn 20 here, Tanner Parton, he's going to bring it home. He's going to go to victory lane for Vision Motorsports. How about that? A masterclass from Tanner Parton, who wins Firestone, Indy, Texas, here from Circuit of the Americas. Second is going to go to the 80 of Chris Reynolds. Something happened to the 48 of Marcus Glitch. Duncan Ward is going to hold on to the third position. Olvera's fourth. Fifth is Carson Miller. Good stuff there for him. Been a rough start to the season there for the 86. Nice to see him bring it home in the 5th position. Same for the 23 of Jay Knapp. Going to come home in the 6th position. Bradshaw 7th. Andrews 8th. Brad Stover is actually going to hang on to the 9th position, so good stuff there for him. And how about Justin Seidel? Bringing it home for a double top 10 there for y'all, Alex.
I like it.
Oh, and that's Avery Alford on the 93 with heavy damage to the wing. So, yeah, and might have had another accident on the last lap. And Alfred and Marcus Glitch, who were both running right outside the top 10. So that is a really tough break there for Marcus Glitch, who's, like I said, has had a really tough start to the season, and a tough break for Alfred, last week's winner. But it's going to be absolute jubilation in the Vision Motorsports Garage as Tanner Parton is just about going to lead every single lap. And he is going to come home a winner here in Firestone, Indy, Texas. An absolutely spectacular performance from Parton and that team. I'm sure Matthew Hubert's definitely going to be excited about that. What a race here from Circuit of the Americas. That was a very, very interesting, but very, very good race here in Austin, Texas. My goodness.
Well, I got the pick right.
Yeah, there you go.
Nathan, the pick did not do as well.
Yeah.
Sorry to Marcus Glitch on that one.
Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes, unfortunately. I do not have the right mojo, and a tough day for Marcus Glitch, but hey, at least he's got the race win for once, Alex. A great win from Tanner Parton. Some good track experience, even though it's a different car, and we'll see if that translates over at the US racing side of things in the World Cup Series here tomorrow. But a dominating race and a pretty good race here today at Circuit of the Americas, and we'll see what ends up happening for the rest of the weekend at Coda for AG. The chain of great win from Tanner Parton and tough way for some of the drivers towards the back part of the field.
What a masterclass from Tanner Parton, and what a great race here from Circuit of the Americas. Like I said, it usually cooks, especially with these Indy cars, and it's been a great weekend of racing so far here from Circuit of the Americas, and as a cherry on top, we've got the Cup race tomorrow, which I would highly recommend you all check that one out. That was a very great race. But a very good week of racing here from Circuit of the Americas. But taking a look here over your official results here from Firestone, Indy, Texas, Tanner Parton is your race winner. So great stuff there from him. Chris Reynolds is going to come home in second, and Duncan Ward is going to wrap up your podium places. Just barely able to hold off Angel Oliveira there, who's going to come home in the 4th position. Carson Miller 5th, Knapp 6th, Bradshaw 7th, Andrews 8th, Stover 9th. Justin Zeidel is going to round out your top 10. But, oh boy, final thoughts you all. What you all think about what we saw today here from Firestone, Indy, Texas, from the Circuit of the Americas?
Well, it's hard to beat the fastest car on the racetrack, that's for sure. Tanner Parton clearly had the fastest car on the racetrack and got out to the lead. And once you get out to the lead on a place like this, it's very difficult to get around them. But hey, still a great race regardless. You know, a lot of exciting things that happened mid-pack, especially near the end there with Brad Stover and Dylan Matthews. I know Dylan's not going to be happy about that one. That is a lot of points right there that was lost in that incident. And that is the way it goes down. I am excited for our next race, though. Willow Springs is a very crazy road course. That'll be next Friday, I do believe, for the Grand Prix of California. And we're going to have some good races there. Sprint Series and Pro Series going to be there next week. It's going to be a lot of fun there back in Southern California for all of those races. And I'm excited to see how it all goes down. Of course, tomorrow we got the Wawa Cup Series here. Terry Black's Texas Grand Prix. That's going to be a very fun race, noon Eastern time, right here on AG the channel. But congratulations to Tanner Parton. Great run for him here today there for Vision Motorsports. I believe that's his first ever win in the Haas IndyCar Series as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, definitely looking forward to Willow Springs. That racetrack is always wild no matter what it is. And gonna be a lot of fun. Willow Springs definitely a hidden gem with the side of things, and looking forward to all of next week's action at Willow Springs, and we'll see if John Anders can get another good one, and we'll see if Tanner Parton can go 2 in a row next week at Willow Springs.
We'll have to wait and see how it all goes down from the Willow Springs Raceway. It ought to be a really fun race, and that race will be going up next Friday, March the 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And like I said, we got the Cup race here from COTA coming up tomorrow. Like I said, I highly suggest you all check that out. That was a very, very entertaining race. Yeah, like I said, Willow Springs coming up next Friday, so I hope to see you all there. But once again, congratulations to Tanner Parton and Vision Motorsports for winning here at Circuit of the Americas. Thank you so much, Alex and Nathan, for joining me up here in the booth for this one, and I will see you all from Willow Springs. You all take care, and have a good one. Here is your point standings after race number 3 of the season.